Good morning. I want to talk about signs today, not prophecies and portents, but actual brick and mortar placards with letters on them, those kinds of signs. Things that we say about ourselves and individuals and as our church. My husband, Tim, has said that he will never put a bumper sticker on his car. 2/3 of our children are here today, and they will vouch for that statement. He's a private person and doesn't want to broadcast to complete strangers where his kids go to school and what sports they play and whether or not they were on the honor roll, or what his hobbies are, who he's voting for in 2016, how he feels about gun control, abortion, or his favorite breed of dog. I shy away from bumper stickers for slightly different reasons. Many of them are badly designed and have ugly type fonts. And if you put one on crooked or off-center on your car, you just have to live with that. You think I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. These things would really bother me. I do have a Life is Good window cling on the back of my car, and I'm happy to consider that a theological statement as well as a brand of really cute sportswear. Now, I know other people make different choices. That's fine. As you might guess, the McFadden yard isn't exactly bristling with campaign signs at this time of year, encouraging folks to make America great again, or telling us that we're stronger together. It isn't that we don't have convictions about these things, or that we wouldn't be happy to talk to you about them individually. It's just not something we put out in public. Other people make other choices. That's fine. About the only yard sign you'll see in the McFadden's yard is the end of the summer when we put a Creekside Fish Fry sign out there. Someday we'll probably have to put a realty sign out by the house when we sell it. Signs are tricky things because communication is a two-way process, and we can't completely control how other people are going to read the words that we put out there. This got me thinking about church signs. Not the printed part of church signs, which usually have the name of the congregation and sometimes the denomination that they're part of, but the movable part of that sign where you can put your own message on the sign. I know you've seen these before. We have one at the end of our driveway here at Creekside. And Ryan and Jessica Prawl do a great job of putting stuff out on that sign. They generally put out what I ask them to do. And I just want to tell you, I think about that pretty carefully, because if you do that wrong, you may communicate something that you did not intend. And sometimes those things are embarrassing or even offensive. So I want to think about choosing our words carefully and show you some church signs that fell a little short in this department. Here's one. I think this is a punctuation problem, really. If they had only put an exclamation point after eat, so it didn't say, "Come and eat, Pastor Thomas Wrestler," it probably would have read better. Here's another one. Now, I don't know if anybody has ever gotten into a car accident because of reading a church sign, but if they did, this would be a candidate for that. If the message is, "Don't text and drive," do we need the church to tell us that? Here's another one. Now, I suspect that this one might be intentional, actually. I don't know if we are making fun of people who actually have anxieties and worries, or if we're trying to say that the church is a bad place to go for that, but that would certainly get your attention. Now, I'm pretty sure that this one is intentional, and I wonder how you would feel about going to a church that publicly belittles its pastor, or what this implies about biblical teaching. I am pretty sure that this one was not intended to be a statement about shiny fabric. But what it ends up to be is a statement about poor spelling. This is my favorite. The class on prophecy has been canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. I don't know if this one was serious or if somebody just had a really good sense of irony, but that is a memorable church sign. And I have one more that will resonate with some of you, I'm sure. Sometimes the messenger becomes the message. Thank you. I chose not to show, and I will not say some of the signs that I found to be offensive. I wish that no church would broadcast messages of condemnation, bigotry, or homophobia on their church signs, but some do. And wrapping these up in cute sound bites doesn't make them any less poisonous. If your church sign says something that your church does not believe, it should not be on your church sign. If your church sign has a cute saying that doesn't have anything to do with Christianity, why bother? I don't think the role of the church in our culture is to provide comic relief. I think what people need and want from the church is hope. Our text is from Paul's letter to the Romans. He was writing to the Roman church at a time of unrest, political tension, and international persecution. In short, a time very much like the one that we live in today. Actually, if we're honest, the state that the world is in all the time. If not here at this precise moment, then for some Christians somewhere. It's a pretty safe bet that at any given time or place, the people of God need to hear and proclaim a message of hope. Here's what Paul writes. For in hope we are saved. Now, hope that is seen is not hope, for who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. I'd like to share some words with you from the author Clarissa Pinkola Estes. She wrote these words following the terrorist attacks of 9/11, but I believe they're relevant to us today. And because she writes so beautifully, rather than summarize what she says, I'm going to quote it at some length. Here is what she says. My friends, do not lose heart. I have heard from so many recently who are deeply and properly bewildered. They are concerned about the state of affairs in our world now. Ours is a time of almost daily astonishment and often righteous rage over the latest degradations of what matters most to civilized, visionary people. Yet, I urge you, please do not spend your spirit dry by bewailing these difficult times. Especially, do not lose hope. I grew up on the Great Lakes and recognize a seaworthy vessel when I see one. Regarding awakened souls, there have never been more vessels in the water than there are right now across the world. And they are fully provisioned and able to signal one another as never before in the history of humankind. Look out over the prow. There are millions of boats of righteous souls on the waters with you. In any dark time, there is a tendency to veer toward fainting over how much is wrong or unmended in the world. Do not focus on that. There's a tendency to fall into being weakened by dwelling on what is outside your reach, by what cannot yet be. Don't focus there. That is spending the wind without raising the sails. We are needed. That is all we can know. And though we meet resistance, we more so will meet great souls who will hail us, love us, and guide us, and we will know when they appear. Didn't you say you were a believer? Didn't you say that you pledged to listen to a greater voice? Didn't you ask for grace? Don't you remember that to be in grace means to submit to that greater voice? Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. What is needed for dramatic change is an accumulation of acts, adding to, adding more, continuing. We know it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small, determined group who will not give up during the first, second, or 100th storm. One of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. To display the lantern of soul in shadowy times like these. To be fierce and to show mercy to others. Both are acts of immense bravery and greatest necessity. Struggling souls can catch light from other souls that are fully lit and willing to show it. If you would help calm the tumult, this is one of the strongest things that you can do. There will always be times when you feel discouraged. I too have felt despair in my life, but I don't keep a chair for it. I don't entertain it. I don't let it eat from my plate. The reason is this. There can be no despair when you remember why you came to earth, who you serve, who sent you here. The good words we say and the good words we do are not ours. They are the words and deeds of the one who brought us here. And in that spirit, I hope you will write this on your wall. When a great ship is harbored and moored, it is safe, and there can be no doubt. But that is not what great ships are built for. So brothers and sisters, I have an assignment for you. I'd like you to pray for words in the coming week. If you have as many and as beautiful a words as Clarissa Pincola Estes, God bless you, and let me know when you want to preach. But I'm asking you for a lot fewer words than that. If you had to make up a campaign sign or bumper sticker to put in your yard or on your car to say who you are and what you're about, what would it say? what words would you choose? If you had the opportunity in the coming week to share with somebody about why you come to Creekside Church, what would you say? Speaking from experience as a preacher, the Spirit will give us words to say, but it goes a lot better if we've given it some thought ahead of time. What would your message say? Would it say what your occupation is? Is that the most important thing to you? Who you're married to, or how many children you have? How many grandchildren you have? Would it say what people you know? Would it be a message of judgment or condemnation? Or would it be a message of hope, belief, justice, or peace? I really mean it. I really want to hear these things for you. And those of you who are participating in the small group Bible studies, I've asked your leaders to give you some time to work on that in a group or as individuals. I'd like you to share those with me by next week, if possible, because I'm going to read some of them without your names attached to them in my sermon next week. So think about why you're here. What were you built for? What purpose do you serve as being here? Thank you, and may the Spirit of grace and peace give you words this week. Amen.